So I'm reading in this book. I'm not going to name it. I don't want it to seem like I'm disagreeing with her. I do this a lot. I will read something, and it's not necessarily that I disagree. I like looking at things, and I can't really help but to look at things at a different perspective. So it says, The Gift of the Magi, how do you say it? Set in the early 1900s, it tells the story of Della and Jim, a young couple who went to buy Christmas presents for each other but have very little money. They do have two prized possessions: Jim's gold watch, which had belonged to his father and grandfather, and Della's long, beautiful hair. Determined to give Jim something special, Della sells her hair in order to buy a platinum bob chain for the watch that he loves so much. She excitedly anticipates giving Jim his present, although with some concern about what he will think about what she has done with her hair. The twist in the story is that Jim has just sold his watch in order to buy expensive jeweled combs for her hair. Combs that she had so much wanted. Ironically, they both sold their most precious possession for the sake of the other person who could no longer use the gift because they had also sacrificed their most prized belonging. Henry ends the story by explaining that the Magi were wise men who brought gifts to the infant Jesus, and that Della and Jim were similarly wise in their sacrificial gifts to each other. They chose selfless love as ultimately what was most valuable. She uses this as a gift of a example of a parable, and I agree. But I mean, so from my perspective, a different perspective, I couldn't help but think and to pull from it that some people would have been just okay with that, but at the end of the day, okay, they both still wanted to give each other a meaningful gift. And they might have, at least one of them or both of them were like, oh man, even if they weren't expecting a gift, they couldn't use the gift. So even if it was feeling bad because they couldn't use the gift, it's valuable and I get it. But at the end of the day, in reality, the situation, it would be kind of like a bummer. Or what do we do with this now? Because it's selfless, but yes, you still have items you can't use now. I get it. But in reality, I pull from it that a deeper meaning of maybe it doesn't matter what we get each other as presents, and maybe the best present and the most valuable present that we could actually give each other is the Word of God, is Jesus. And I know that sounds cheesy, but it's true, because at the end of the day, even if they would have given each other those gifts, it would have meant a lot, yeah. But at the end of the day, they would still have that feeling of something missing. You know what I mean? Have you ever, received an awesome gift or bought yourself something awesome or done something that you've always wanted to do and it was great at the time, and then it's at the end of that night, you're still what? Even if it has nothing to do with a gift, you still have, there's something in you, inside of you, that feels like it still needs to be filled. So maybe next birthday or whatever, And the thing about Jesus is, yes, there are days when I'm wow, my faith was so full yesterday, and it sucks sometimes to me that I have to refill. But that's His mercy. We have so much mercy because we did mess up the day before and this day of, but the gift of Him, He is filling. And if you actually spend time in His Word, reading it and in prayer, and just to be with Him, not to get anything out of it, but Him. Even if you don't understand what you're reading, I'm telling you, if you do that and you continue in that, it is one of the most fulfilling things. And I've found myself feeling less fulfilled, but I've also found myself more and more busy with things other than the Word of God and prayer. And I'm why is He not filling me? Why am I not as on fire? It's I could be. It's a decision. It's when you drink water. My husband always says, it rests my pipes. And I'm yeah, because it's a sign. Your body's telling you, oh my gosh, that's what I need. Because you'll start to crave something. That doesn't mean you need it. But when it does get what it needs, you're going to be oh my gosh, I've been needing that. That's what I actually need. And your body will start craving what you actually need instead of what it's been wanting. So the Word does that for us too. So I just thought that was interesting in the book I was reading. I'm not disagreeing with her. I don't want to say that her view is wrong, because I don't feel that way. I just pulled a little bit of a deeper meaning from it, I wouldn't even say deeper. It's just another facet of it, I guess.